The leader of the Scottish Conservatives in the Scottish Parliament, Holyrood, Ruth Davidson. Very good to see you, Ruth. Can I pick up where I've just left off? You know, you are the official opposition in Scotland. Has Nicola Sturgeon done the right thing or the wrong thing by introducing these new restrictions on people's ability to go to pubs and restaurants?
Well, where Andrea and I would slightly differ is this isn't just about what the science is telling governments in the UK and across the devolved administrations. It's also the political decisions that people make when they see that science. Now, you know, as a member of the opposition, we don't get to see and we don't get to hear the advice that is being given to Nicola Sturgeon, nor do we get to see or hear the options that are put before her and the suite of options that are being put before her about what can happen. What we've seen today, you know, it is big. It is a big intervention. The areas which are most affected, where all pubs are being shut, where all licensed premises are being shut, where you're not allowed to play football or go to the bingo, or you're still not allowed to go into anybody's house. You know, that's more than half the country in terms of population size. So this is a big measure. What we don't know is what advice she was given about what all of the different options were. But what is very clear is over the course of this, for several months, there has been a general acceptance in Scotland that these public health measures just need to be followed. And there's been a really good uptake of that. And I think we're getting to the point in Scotland now where people are looking for more justification. They're looking for more information. They're looking to have more, they're looking to be trusted, actually, with what the rationale is for some things that seemingly don't make sense or are contradictory.
I mean, the First Minister says you'll get a vote on this. Do you have a sense of how you'll vote?
Well, actually, not on this particularly. What she was talking about today was she was talking about when we come back after the fortnight's break.
It was a sort of retrospective vote. Yeah, she said you get a retrospective vote. I thought.
We're looking at a framework of how we go forward, and this is going to be involved with other areas. What we need to see is what is actually being proposed. And I don't know if we've got time to do this, Robert, but if I can just come back to where this acceptance is slightly breaking down or at least being questioned. We've seen business organisations in Scotland come out and use language I've never seen in 10 years of politics. So we saw the Licensed Trade Association call today's announcement cataclysmic. The CBI said it was a crushing blow. UK Hospitality said it was a total catastrophe. The Scottish Tourism Alliance called it devastating. The Federation of Small Business said it could be last orders for many pubs and restaurants. And the Scottish Retail Consortium said that shops would be baffled by the new restrictions. I mean, these are organisations that have worked closely with government, that have worked closely with their members to try and make sure that public health measures being brought in were followed. And as a responsible opposition, we have supported government messaging in the past. But there is a point where we have to be able to see why, you know, you can go to a cafe and eat fish and chips for your lunch. And if you have a glass of wine, that's considered a public health threat. And if you don't have a glass of wine in the same seat, in the same cafe, eating the same meal, that's not a public health threat. You know, and people, they do want to be trusted now with some more information about why these decisions are being made.
But I presume you would take the view that it is a health emergency, and in the end, it is that health emergency that is the priority to solve.
Well, we have absolutely supported, as a responsible opposition, public health measures to keep people in Scotland safe. Now, we've pressed the Scottish Government on support mechanisms for people that are affected by this. And I think what's really important is the balance that we strike between the effect that COVID has on the population in Scotland and the rest of the UK and what our reaction to COVID is and the effects that has. The effects that has on people's mental health, the effects that has on people's living standards, on their ability to work, on their ability to have a job, because we've seen unemployment rise, on the support packages we have. And this is the big criticism that's come from people today in Scotland, is that we were told there's going to be money made available for all of these businesses that are told to shut. And that's great. You know, we welcome a headline figure. But when asked on how do I apply, how much am I entitled to, when can I get it, because we don't have any reserves left, we've run dry, and you know, a lot of companies are in trouble. We were told, yeah, we haven't worked that out yet. We're going to talk to people tomorrow, and then we'll make it up. And it's like, well, you've told people that the day after tomorrow they have to shut their doors. You know, people need to either be involved in this or to have, you know, the idea of how they're going to make this work themselves, because there's companies that are on their knees in Scotland.
Can you sort of clear up one thing that certainly doesn't make sense to me, which is why you've got infection rates in the north of England where there are, frankly now, much less restrictive rules on people's way of life than we've now got in Scotland, where the rate of infection is so much lower?
Well, I don't think for a second that you should take Scotland as one homogenous unit here, because it's not. You know, we have 32 local authority areas in Scotland. As of 10 o'clock this morning, which is the last time I looked, and I know that it's been updated since then, but it's been a pretty big day in Scotland, so please forgive me. But as of 10 o'clock this morning, there was 2 of those 32 local authorities that had 0 ratings. There was another one that was under 10 as its R rate, and then we've got 3 that are over 100. So the difference across Scotland is just as wide as the difference across England, Wales, and I assume Northern Ireland.
But just to be clear, either England's got it wrong or Scotland has got it wrong. Which is wrong?
Well, that's what I was saying in terms of where I slightly disagree with Andrea Leadsom, in that governments in the devolved administrations in the United Kingdom, in France that you talk about, Spain, Germany, all of these places that are doing things slightly differently, they're all being given probably just about the same modelling. They've got scientific advisors that are giving them advice on what contact rates are, what they think the number of contacts will be reduced if you stop people going into each other's homes, or if you stop them going into pubs and restaurants, if you stop them going to the football, all of this sort of thing. And it is up to the politicians to decide and to draw where that line is. Now, you ask me who's right and wrong, and I don't think when you're in the middle of a global pandemic, you'll be able to tell that. I probably don't think you'll be able to tell for a number of years who in the world got this right and who got this wrong. And the more we look at COVID, the more it makes fools of us all, the more we think that we know how it acts, or how a second wave is going to happen, or how severe it's going to be on people, or how many people are going to get long COVID, how many people are going to get mild symptoms. It is a disease, it's a virus that seems to be confounding a lot of the scientists that are giving the politicians the information that they're working from.
I've got just time for one last question. Your colleague, the leader of your party, Douglas Ross, has said that the government in Westminster, or many members of it, are too fatalistic about Scotland voting for independence and are governing too much for England. Do you agree with him?
Absolutely, 100%. And when I was the leader of the Scottish Tory party, I said the same things. I just didn't always have the cojones to say it in public. And I'm really pleased that Douglas Ross has.
Well, as always, it's a joy to see you, and we'd hope you will come back soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.